Okay, so this little guy here, I don't remember if they said he was 2 or 3, but somewhere right around that line. So he's in for colt starting, and hopefully he's going to have a nice little career at the racetrack. But Bob and Luann are very particular. They want to make sure that their horses, after their racing career, can go on to good, solid careers after that. They don't do the disposable thing, so they're really good to their horses. So this little guy here, when I start out with these guys, one of the first things I do is I'll just work with my lariat, and I want to just kind of desensitize them or sensitize them, depending on which I'm doing, to the rope, doing all sorts of different things. And I'll put it on as, wrap it all around them, get them all hung up in it, teach them to not panic, put it on his feet eventually, and work all those. So I'm just going to start moving around here. First, I'm just going to kind of let him go around. He's relatively halter broke. He still has a bit that I'd like to be better, so I didn't have to do all the roping and stuff like that. But I'm just going to kind of let him carry this. And then one day, somebody might want to do some jump rope. And I allow my dogs kind of there to kind of go around the outside, because they have to get used to that in most areas anyway. If they start barking too much, I'll get after them. But I kind of say, bring on the circus here, so that when they get somewhere, it's okay after that. But, sometimes he might chase the dog, or the dog might chase him. I just thought of something. Let me turn my phone off. Otherwise it's going to be ringing at you guys. So he's just going to travel around here for a second. And again, just move this all around. Do all these good things. Now he's a pretty nice little guy. He's not too overreactive about too much. I'm just going to take this rope and just kind of throw it around, have it touch him on the butt there a little. And he's still kind of gangly, so you're going to see him tripping and running into himself here a little bit, but he has to learn all that too. And it's a little windy, so my rope's fighting the wind a little bit here, but that's all right. I just wanted to touch him. So I'm going to get just kind of a little feel on his neck here. See if he yields to it. Every time he gives me a little bit, I release. I release. See if he'll want to kind of come in a little without Wrangler getting after his butt there. Just kind of offset a little. Again, he's okay on the halter, but he still gets stuck every once in a while, so we're going to work on all that kind of stuff. I'm just showing you, this is basic colt starting things that everybody should do. And even when I get a horse in that's, has a problem with lead changes or anything like that, I start right here. I make sure that all the bases are covered. It's amazing sometimes what holes are in the programs for an adult horse, or a horse that kind of knows what's happening in life, or supposed to. You go back and you touch on all this stuff and you're like, whoa, he has no idea how to do that. He gets stuck somewhere, get hung up, and then he gets into this panic mode. And this helps fix all that. I'm just gonna move him this way. Change directions on me, that's all right. No big deal. Keep him going that way. And I'll toss the rope on this side. Have it touch his butt. Now some horses, now he's a little stud colt, they usually don't have as much trouble with this when it comes around their hindquarters. But a lot of the mares, when you bring it around their hindquarters, they'll start kicking up a storm. He's pretty okay with that, and I'm going to put a little bit of pressure, just a little bit. And I'm going to see if he's going to want to bring his hindquarter kind of over towards me and maybe even yield it, because eventually I'm going to put my leg back there when I go to riding him, and I want him to understand what that means. I don't force anything, I just take my time. And I'm going to do this for a couple days until it's really rock solid. You'll see eventually I'll put that rope over there, pick up a little feel, and he'll just kind of fly around. You're not going to see all of it, but I'm just kind of showing you kind of what to do. And you want to make sure when you do this kind of stuff that you have an idea what you're doing. You don't want to put ropes in your hands like this and around your horse's body if you don't know how to handle a rope. You can get hurt, your horse can get hurt. I never wear gloves when I do this, because if I'm going to burn my hands, that's my fault. My hands are burning, that horse's hide is burning. I'm not going to allow that to happen. So I want to make sure, there we go. I want to make sure that he is always safe. If I have gloves on my hands, I can hurt him up pretty bad. Just give him a little feel there. Gets under his tail there just a little bit. That's all right too. It's going to be under there eventually. Kind of give him little feels, little tugs. He wants to play with the dog. That's all right. And it feels a little funny because it's around his neck, it's around his chest, it's around his butt. He's not quite sure how to yield to that yet, but eventually he will. Every time he gives a little try, I give a little release. And eventually he'll come around. And for now, I just bring it all over the place. Kind of put it in all these different little places here. Make sure he's okay with it. Again, now this is a real tender spot, right up in that groin area, but things get stuck up in there. I've seen it. So I want to be able to pick up on that, have him feel a little pressure without cutting him. I will not cut this horse with this rope, and it's pretty easy to do. See, he's getting a little woohoo. So I will not have gloves on, but you might have to touch this horse up in the groin area sometime, and you want him okay with it. Why not start here with the rope 50, 60 feet away or so? So he can kick at that if he needs to, and it won't bother me. He's licking his lips, playing with the dogs. There you go. He's all right with that. I'm going to kind of cut him off. Throw that rope out there. Cut him off. Get him to change. Get it in the other groin. Coming right across underneath there. Tickle, tickle. And again, I can even play a little jump rope back here. Now, if they start kicking, you just kind of let them work at it. You don't get any firmer. You don't get any harder. You just kind of let them work at it. It's not punishment when they start kicking at it. They just have to realize it's not going to do them any good to kick. If all of a sudden they kick and it starts hurting them, they're not going to be too happy. Wind him here a little bit. And again, I'm just going to pick up on this rope. See if he comes to me. Halter braking is a following a feel, no matter where it comes from. It's not just around the nose. He's going to learn to follow this feel on the feet, on the neck, around his cinch, around his flank. He's going to learn to follow this everywhere. So every time he comes, I just release him a little bit. Just have nice, easy, steady pressure there. Get off on an angle so I can offset his feet. Comes to me, I release it. Ask him here. If he doesn't, there he goes. and I release it. And I'm exaggerating my release so you can see it. Normally it would be more like that. There you go. Now he'll kind of follow you all over the place if you leave it up to him. But when you put pressure on him, he kind of wants to go against that pressure. And he's not supposed to go against pressure. There we go. So we just work at it until he can follow that feel. Then I'm going to create that tension again. Because again, once he's kind of hooked on here, he'll follow me all day long. Put that pressure. There we go. Put that pressure. Wait on him. I'm not going to choke him out here. I don't have that much weight on there. Wait on him. There we go. And I want him to get good at this before I put it on his feet. There. So if he doesn't really get good at yielding the pressure when it's around just his neck, when I put it around his feet, we're going to have a little fun. So I kind of give him an idea how to get started. So again, kind of get him to stay there a little bit. And then put that pressure on. There we go. Good job. Put that pressure on. I never want to have this horse feel any heavier than a hummingbird on the end of my line. When I pulled him out earlier out of the stall, he got stuck at a spot. And when he got stuck, I couldn't get him to go any further. It took me a minute to get him to get in here because he just planted and didn't yield to my pressure. Because again, you can put the halter on him, you can kind of get him to go places, but if he's not sure about it, he's not going to go. I want him to learn to trust me and follow that feel no matter where I'm at or where I'm asking him to go. It just comes from always giving him the release the second that he gives it to me. And he likes being pet. If they don't like being pet, you just kind of let them alone. But if they like being petted, then go ahead and pet them up. There we go. Bring him up. Bring him up. Bring him up. Good job. Now I'm going to take this from this distance, surround his butt, and see if he can figure out how to follow that feel. Eventually I'll do this with the halter too, but now I have plenty of line. If he gets lost, he can go somewhere. There we go. Well, just follow that feel coming around there. What you do on one side, you do on the other. Make sure this lariat here is over there. Now, if they're real touchy, you don't want to get that close, obviously. Just gonna wait. 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 Kind of block him from going the wrong way. Don't make it impossible for him to go the wrong way. Now just hold. Keep backing until he makes the right decision. Pick up a little feel there. Get him to look at me. Good job. See if that makes any sense to him. Okay. Pull him off of that rail there. Good. The more chances I have to ask him to lead up, I'm going to take him. Tell him he was a good boy. That side was a little hard. Eventually, every time I go to put something over his head, I want him to drop his head. So I'm going to start asking for that right now. Just wait on him. Nothing's harder. Just going to wait. There he goes. Good job. Now if he starts really anticipating that, which you don't want him to do either, and just starts flying around before you even get the rope over him, then sometimes you'll start putting that rope around and then just dropping it, not even asking them to go anywhere off of it. Good boy. I'm going to take this, make it bigger. Well, sometimes this gets funny when they drag their feet a lot. Let's see if I can get them to step through that. Almost. It's always 1 foot. Go, buddy, go. There we go. I'm going to take this up. And just like a dog collar, a choke chain, you want to make sure this is going to release. If you have it the other way and you release, it stays tight. So I want this to be able to slide. So this has to come out the top, not out the bottom. Otherwise, when you drop it, it stays tight. I want to be able to drop this at any point in time. I'm going to put this under here like this. And I'm going to send them around a little bit. Actually, I'm going to help them just a wee bit. Putting this around here so I don't get it too tight, so it doesn't slide back. Okay, now I'm going to send them off. Kind of like if you went the other direction. There we go. Now I'm just going to pick up on that here and there. Let him feel that very lightly. Make sure he doesn't overreact, which he shouldn't. And he didn't. So now I'll give it to him for real. Take this. Okay. I'm going to start picking this up. This is a cinch. Some horses, this is a real rodeo. Some it isn't. I'm not going to cut them in two. Just want them to feel that. You can see kind of tightening up there a little bit. People say, well, the back cinch isn't back there, Val. I know, but it could be someday. It could kind of slide back there if that little hobble strap that goes between the front and the back cinch breaks. And all of a sudden you find that back there or something gets back there. You don't want to have a rodeo. I've seen all sorts of things happen. So I'm just going to pick it up and release it. Pick it up and release it. Now if I pulled real hard and scared them, I could cause them to buck right now, but that's not the point. I don't want them to buck. I don't want them to kick out. I want them to be okay with everything that I do here. There we go. Good. Licking his lips. He's going, I can handle that, lady. So I'm going to see if I can help him stop here. If he doesn't want to stop, that's all right. Just going to gather it up as I go so he doesn't step on it, I don't step on it. Let him know it's okay. Bring this up here. Now I'm going to actually bring this right through his front legs and see if he can yield off of this. Wrangler. There we go. That feels a little funny. Again, anywhere that he feels pressure, I want him to yield from it. Teach it to them now while they're babies. That feels a little funny. There we go. Good. And also, I've never had a horse have a problem with it yet. I'm sure someday I will, but the breast collar is going to go right through there too. I want to be okay with that when I hook it up. I'm going to be touching right there. I'm going to be bringing that thing up in there when I saddle him. So might as well get him used to it. Follow the feel. Follow that feel. Good job. And again, one day, anywhere I put a feel on him, he's going to follow. Might not be perfect today, but if I get something today and then a little more tomorrow and a little more the next day, pretty soon, it's pretty cool what they can do. Just got to give them a chance and tell them what you want from them. They're almost always willing to comply. There we go. Down here. Drop this over his butt. Now it's going to walk off. There we go. Okay. So that gives you a little an idea of what I'll do with the rope around the body. In a minute here we'll stop this tape and then I'll go to the feet so that you can watch it separate. But you know, again, it'll get better and better every single day. So thank you very much, and that's kind of how you get that started.